So for question 8, we are looking at a coin that is flipped 10 times, where each flip comes up either heads or tails. And then we are looking at how many possible outcomes are there for different types of constraints. Now, for this, we know that the coin is going to be flipped 10 times. So let's start with 8A. Okay, in 8A we want to see the total number of possibilities. And we know that the coin is flipped 10 times. So let's assume that this is the first flip, second flip, third flip, fourth flip, fifth, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now the first flip, there are two possibilities. It can either comes up heads or it can come up tail. So there are two possibilities for the first one. And the second coin flip is independent of the first one. So again, there are two possibilities. And in fact, there are going to be two possibilities for each of the 10 coin flips. And because of that, essentially we're going to have 2 to the power of 10 possible outcomes, because each coin flip can turn up either head or tail. Now that is 2A. Now let's look at 2B next. And in this case, we are looking at the number of possible outcomes that contain exactly 2 heads. So no less, no more. Now in this case, we can see that any kind of possible outcome is going to be a sequence of outcomes, right? So we can say that, let's say, one possible outcome is that it's going to come up heads twice, and then followed by tail, eight times. So then we have 10 coin flips, and it comes up in this way. Now we know that out of these 10, there are going to be 2 of them that are going to be heads. But which 2 of them? So that's going to tell us the number of possible outcomes. And because there are 10, essentially we are saying here, okay, so let's assume that we have 10 slots, and we want to dedicate 2 of the slots to heads. So that's going to help us to count how many possibilities there are to contain 2 heads. So since we have 10 slots and we only want 2 heads, so essentially we have 10 choose 2. So the 2 that are chosen, the 2 out of the 10 slots that are chosen are going to be heads, and then the rest are going to be tails. Alright, now we then go on to 8C. So in the case of 8C, it says that we can contain at most 3 tails. So which means that 3 tails can have several possibilities. So at most 3 tails can have several possibilities. So one possibility is that there is 0 tail. Another possibility is 1 tail. That means 1 out of 10 comes up tail. Another possibility is 2 tails. And the last possibility is 3 tails. Now, to get to the outcome that actually has 0 tail, it means that everything is head. So essentially, if we are looking for a slot within the 10 to fill up with tail, we can't. So now this number essentially is 10 choose 0. 1 tail means there are 10 possible slots, 10 possible coin flips, and only 1 turns up tail. So only 1 out of 10, so we're going to choose 1 out of 10 possibilities to be the tail. Now for 2 tails, we're going to have 10 choose 2, because we're going to have exactly 2 tails. And for 3 tails, it's going to have 10 choose 3. So at most 3 tails is going to apply to include all these different cases. So we just need to sum them up, because anyway they don't overlap, so there's no double counting. So then the sum of all these numbers is going to be the answer to 8C. Now for the last part, which is 8D, we are now looking at the number of possibilities that contain exactly the same number of heads and tails. Now there are 10 coin flips, so if it's going to contain the same number of heads and tails, it means that there are going to be exactly 5 heads and 5 tails. So we just need to figure out where the heads are going to be and the rest are going to be tails. And in that sense, since we know that only 5 out of 10 are going to be heads, so the answer to this essentially is just 10 choose 5. Because we have 10 slots, and out of these 10 slots, 5 are going to be heads, the other 5 are going to be tails. Let's say one possibility is for the first 5 to be heads. Now, if we have this, then automatically the other 5, the remaining 5, have to be filled up with tails. So every time we change the slot for the heads, it's still going to leave another 5 spaces for the tail, and we just need to put it there. So essentially the total number that we need to consider is just 10 choose 5.